and go from there. Okay. So the very first slide. This is Masada. This is located in Israel. Why is this important to us? I'm going to tell you at the end of the actual presentation, but this is going to be a very interesting case study that I want you to remember, because you're going to walk away with it, not just the squeeze the rest of your life. All right, let's talk about sell-offs. Citadel's strategic sell-offs, okay? I've broken this down into a military format, make it really easy and digestible for everybody. I've included some scenarios, some things that are going to happen that are part of my general thesis of how this thing will roll out and what the enemy is going to do. And I'm going to refer to the hedge funds, the short hedge funds, as the enemy, as there's too many of them to even bother naming. So I'm going to give you a forecast and salute report, a sit rep, and an MP COA, basically a situation report and an enemy's most probable course of action. This has been a war game between me and a couple of my Marine Corps buddies. As I'm sure most of you know, I come from a military background, and I am a huge fan of logical reasoning, thinking things through and basically just figuring out what my enemy's going to do. I like to strategize. I like to war game. And this is what I've come up with. I hope you appreciate it. It took me a little bit of time to do it, and I think it's worth value. All right, let's start with the sit rep. So right now, as it stands, Citadel is in its final stages of planning for the infinity squeeze. They're getting all their ducks in a row to strike, to make sure this thing doesn't happen the way we want it to. And they're doing this by coordinating with their industry partners, other hedge funds, banks, vendors, and anyone that's mission critical for them. Okay, the largest shareholders are in the United States, but that doesn't mean that the shareholders overseas in Japan and Scotland and Ireland and Germany and Canada and all those other places are not going to get the the business from the enemy. They are. So what they're doing right now is they're mission critical partners that are around globally. They're working with them. They're partnering with them, right? They want to make sure that everything goes according to their plan, and there's nothing we can do about it. We have to let them do what they have to do. It's just that simple. Now, this is an extinction level event, right? So in terms of the individual enemy employee, they're in a state of complete panic. There's fear, there's anxiety, there's this deep depression. The morale is very low, and it's going to affect them during the squeeze. The psychiatry will tell you that when people are in a state of fear and anxiety and the depression kicks in, they're going to make mistakes. It is just a matter of time. They will make a mistake either in the coding or some kind of computer error or some kind of judgmental error, and you're going to see that play into our advantage. We don't have to do anything. We just need to watch them basically go down in flames, believe it or not. But they are coordinating, right, with past security heads from the SEC, influential financial leaders, the Bernankes of this world, the whoever, former Goldman Sachs CEOs, whoever. These financial leaders are going to be the ones that advocate for a bailout, them, or grace from the government, or DTC, or whoever else, right? They're going to meet with their clients, their lenders, and anyone that's a business stakeholder as a contingency, and they're doing that now, and they're letting you know this is about to happen if they haven't done already, and they should be prepared for it. Are they going to cut off and allow the, or just stop the denial of, money going to their clients, their redemption period? I don't know. It's hard to say, but anything's possible. These guys did it in no way they could do it again. So let's not, we can't speculate on it. I do expect them to use deliberate stall techniques and time buying events that are carefully being mapped out, whatever those things might be. Nobody knows really. We just know that it's coming. We just don't know in what form. We can expect anything to do with the market that is kind of wonky, that adversely affects us, or just questions the manner in which this whole thing is done. As a stall technique, it is a staged event. It is something that is planned out and something that they're doing. Okay. Now, their biggest thing, right, in my opinion, is managing their risk exposure, right? They are coming up with numbers. They're having everybody stand by. They're doing all the due diligence. They're getting the lawyers lined up. They're getting the marketing team lined up. So, and the FUD factory on standby. Why? Because they want as much FUD going out during the squeeze so people don't FOMO buy. Remember that? And that's where if you want to, tell all your friends and family to quickly buy in, you should. If you want to go to, other, of course, this isn't financial advice, but if you wanted to go to, let's say, a Facebook or a Twitter or another handle and, whatever, another social media platform and tell everybody that this is happening and everyone should jump in, you have the right to do that, of course, because you have freedom of speech. That's just my opinion on there. But for retail investors, we're looking good. We are looking very good. We'll be looking better in a few weeks, but, it is what it is right now. In reality, the bleeding has increased, right? The steady flow of blood is starting to pick up. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think this thing is going to take a few months. I think if we start now in this month, and it's going to go into December, January, and February, I think that's what I know it's not what you want to hear, but I'm just being frank with you. But I'm telling you, by January, February, this thing is going to be in the thousands, the tens of thousands, maybe in the hundreds of thousands, depending how fast we can move this thing. It moves. So I don't want to be that person that you hate, but I just want to be honest with you. This is what I think. And I think it's going to go into next year. And I think the amount of money that we're going to get in February, January timeframe will make up for any inconvenience for a shitty holiday. I mean, for lack of a better phrase. Yeah, it's going to be a shitty Christmas. It's going to be a shitty New Year. You're going to be tight with your money. And that's okay, because when this thing starts to really take off, my goodness, you will never have to worry about another bad holiday ever again. And it's going to be great for you. Don't worry about that. With this expectation that during this whole thing, this process that we're going to go through, that you're going to fold somewhere in that timeline before the squeeze starts, during the squeeze, in the middle of the squeeze, or at the very end of the squeeze, which we're going to discuss a little later. Okay? So that's what's going on right now in our world against the enemy and us. They're planning. They're doing everything they need to do. They're getting their lawyers. They're getting their people lined up, and it is a heinous place to work right now. I promise you, it is toxic right now. Nothing's leaked out, but things are going to start leaking very soon. And people talk, and eventually things get out. And everyone's on standby, and it is what it is, and that's okay. All right, let's talk about institutional investors. All right, this is the salute report for institutions. All right, there's 381 of them. Right, we don't know who is who. We don't know who's friendly and who's foe. We do know that it's composed of banks, hedge funds, insurance companies, investment advisory groups, pension funds, private equity, holding companies, corporations, governments, if you can imagine, trusts, brokerages, and of course sovereign wealth funds, which is really interesting. I didn't really picture them, but they were in the mix in the Bloomberg report. By the way, all my data sources are coming directly from Bloomberg. I'm not making any of these names up. I don't know any. These companies are actually real. Their activities these are all the sellers, and that's what they're going to be doing during the squeeze with us. We don't know who's working for who, what their magic number is, but we know that we'll see them in the mix, and we know that they're going to sell at one point. Where are they located? They're all over the world. There's France, Sweden, you name it. It's everywhere. These guys are everywhere. Who do they work for? Most of them are individual institutional portfolios. They're companies that they represent themselves. They have their stakeholders, their shareholders. We don't know who those people are, though. But we do know some of them, maybe all of them. Who knows? Are Citadel Confederates, enemies. Now, this enemy has got a relationship or a promise that was made by, this institutions were made promises, by Citadel and the enemy for whatever it is. Maybe it's IT coding. Maybe the currency isn't really currency. It's not money. It's technology. It's coding. It's algorithms. Nobody knows though. But they are armed. They are equipped. They got fast computers. They get support from Citadel and any of the shorting hedge funds, the enemy, of course. And they have margin, and they have all the things they need to make our squeeze very miserable. And I want you to be aware of that. So how is this going to work out? How does the actual squeeze happen, and what's Citadel going to be doing? Very simple. I'm going to give you a graph.
Do you ever feel like it takes you 2 hours, 20 takes, and a mini meltdown just to create a 2-minute video?
Well, in this video, we're going to introduce you to the Hollywood method, which allows you to make amazing video in just 3 takes or less. But first, who the heck are we? I'm Dave.
Right? This is it. This is Citadel, the enemy, and we're going to also lump in all the 25, 50 other hedge funds that are shorting AMC and GME in this, right? So they use strategic covert communications, right? That means phone apps, Signal, Proton Mail, WhatsApp. They're so conniving and devious. They're using dating websites like Plenty of Fish. I've heard of guys, rather, using Grindr, downloading Grindr, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's a gay messaging app for gay guys and gay men. And they message each other in different firms. They find each other's screen names. They locate each other in the same towns, same wherevers, and they find each other and they keep communications that way. And of course, if the SEC raids or the FBI raids the place, and they're going to look for Signal, Proton Mail, emails, faxes, but they're not going to look in the dating app sites. It's going to be considered intrusive. But in those dating app sites like Grindr or Plenty of Fish or whatever, Tinder, there's going to be communications. It's layered, and I'm telling you, that's how they do it. I know this because during a political campaign I worked on, we knew that our phones were compromised. So somebody came up with this bright idea of downloading Grindr for all the phones, and we communicated that way. So this is something that people are going to be doing. It's innocuous. There's these messenger apps that are just very plain and whatever, and they could be sending encoded messages. Nobody knows. They could have the Enigma book for each one. Nobody knows. But what we do know, and I've laid out the ones that are friendlies. The ones in green are all friendly hedge funds to Ken Griffin and Citadel and whoever else. That's why they're connected, right? So when the timing's right, these guys give orders. Citadel gives orders. And they'd say to this person, sell it this time, sell it that time, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And the New York Stock Exchange is complicit in all this. Okay? They're going to be complicit in all this. And the decisions that are going to be made by this group right here. The head of trading, wherever that is, the director, the chief strategist of the squeeze, the guy that's going to orchestrate everything, the coordinators, the guy that's calling up all the funds, the banks, whoever, institutions, you name it, all the friendlies for them, the chief risk officer, which we talked about, chief investment officer, and of course the devil himself, Ken. Okay? This is how it's all going to work out. This is how they're going to map it out. This is how they're going to strategically bring this short squeeze down to a dribble, really. And we're not going to let that happen because I have a strategy for that as well. But this is how, take a look, they're connected to all these institutions and organizations. They've worked together. They're colleagues. A lot of them went to the same school. When I, when I go on LinkedIn, I see some of the people that work for them. I see familiar faces. And I see people that are, really smart and really well connected. Great resumes, great families and stuff. They're all connected and they're all corrupt. And that's what it comes down to. These people are, like I said, this is an extinction level event. They're going to do everything in their power, not to get caught, but they are going to do everything in their power to win. Okay? To win. This is their livelihoods. This is their pride. This is their entire lives here. And if you lose, you lose. That's it. Let me lay out the relationships here. Here's Ken in the middle, right? Here's the New York Stock Exchange, and that's Jeffrey. Jeffrey is the CEO and president. I think it might be Cunningham right now, but he owns this. He owns the New York Stock Exchange. So what's his connection to Ken Griffin? Ken Griffin paid millions of dollars to various political organizations, PACs, to his wife, right here, the former senator, I don't know if she was a senator or not, but she made it up. But he donated a ton of money to her, and she is she's the wife of this chap, Jeffrey, the head of the New York Stock Exchange. Sprecher, I think is his last name. Of course, there's Mike Pence and whatnot. But they're all in bed with each other. And there will be fuckery, in my opinion, from New York Stock Exchange. So absolutely be there. And of course, Kenny's best buddy, Mr. Stevie Cohen of SAC Capital, now 0.72 out of Stanford. And of course, all the other small hedge funds that are out there. Let me explain to you how hedge funds work and how they're like there's a plant called Mother of 1,000. Okay, Mother of 1,000. It's a plant. This one plant does something very unique. You put it somewhere, you water it, you grow it, and it reproduces without having to. In other words, it grows and it takes away some of its spawn, it cuts it off, and it allows it to grow on its own. So it has this pollinating the world type thing where it's like it's growing little seeds and it does it by itself, and it just makes a million of these other plants, all the same variety. And that's exactly how hedge funds work. So let's say I work for Citadel, right? I worked for 5 years for Citadel. I made Ken a shit ton of money, a bunch of money. I finally said to Ken, hey, it's my time to go, man. I'm going to start my own fund. So, of course, Ken gives me the blessing, gives me the A-OK. And what does he do? He gives me my first nut. He gives me $1 billion. He goes, hey, start with my money first. And he gives me $1 billion. And that gives me my first, because I'm only going to walk out with $20-30 million working for Ken over 5-10 years, depending on bonuses and how well I perform. But Ken's going to give me $1 billion. And what that means is he gets first access to any of my plays, and he gets access to all the shit that I do. He's going to see it, and he's going to oversee it, and I'm going to be friends with him. And that's why these leagues are there. These are all funds that Ken has spawned, whether it be Gabe Plotkins or whoever. These hedge funds are all incestuous. They all are sleeping with each other. They're all buddies. They are doing this together. It's a coordinated effort. And when you work for Ken, you never really stop working for Ken. You leave, but he's going to give you $1 billion you're going to play with. You're going to make more money for him. You're going to make a little for yourself. And you will do that for X amount of years until you're completely out of his pocket. And that's it. Either you lose all of his fucking money, one or the other. Okay, next.
My name is Johnny Vo. I've joined November 2019. I was a machinist. We're doing north of $59,000 a month.
I'm Dominic Taylor.
Time execution of strategic sales. This is why the meat and potatoes there. Let's pretend it's 12/11/21, okay? And squeeze has started, and we are, let's say, at $1,000 or $10,000 or whatever. This is how it's going to work. They're going to signal their friends to sell at certain times and certain price tags, okay? If you look on this, the way I've got it structured, excuse me, you'll see that I've got time frames. 2 million shares drop at a strike price of 14,000. Drop 100,000 shares at this price. And who is it? It's Renaissance Tech, Jim Simons, or Wolverine, or whoever. They get these marching orders. They send texts through that messenger app, and then they start doing it. They start coordinating their efforts. This is how they're going to do it, right? Just certain strike price, 20,000, drop 200K, drop 100K, drop this, drop that, and make that price go down. And remember, it's to create a frenzy drop, right? That's what they want to do. They want to create a frenzy drop, and it will be coming at random times and random price strikes. We don't know. I'm just using these as an example, but nobody knows when they're actually going to happen or what prices. But the New York Stock Exchange, our friend Jeff Sprecher, they're going to be halting trading. We can expect that. Maybe 2 days. The max they can do is 30 days. This is to quell volatility. I'm not making this up. They can delay the squeeze just by holding on, just by hitting the pause button and hoping some of us exit the strategy. And the data that they're going to be published is complete bullshit. And I think we've talked about that. They'll publish fake sell-offs and all this other stuff, and it's creating, quote, massive volume of sell-offs, but it's fake. It's there directly and explicitly to make you sell, to make you panic sell. All of a sudden, you're going to see 100,000 shares being thrown away. No, it's such bullshit. It's to freak you out, and it's all coordinated. So these strategies are more or less condensed versions of the rinse and repeat, the ones we talked about in the other video. They work by dramatic drops, causing us, the individual retail investor, to induce stress, trade trauma, forcing retail to close. I can't handle this emotional roller coaster anymore. I got to go. I'm done with it. Okay? And this is all determined by actual sell volume, the sentiment on social media, and other chart factors. They're earmarks and milestones. So they're going to be creeping. Their AI is going to be watching over Reddit, going to be watching over Twitter and Facebook and anywhere else that we're talked about. And they're going to gain a competitive edge by knowing what we're thinking. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. The sentiment on social media, okay? Once they drop the price, they will immediately drop a trading halt. So if it goes from $30,000 a share to all of a sudden $15,000, they're going to put a trading halt in place. They're going to take it away, or they're going to have some kind of treacherous thing that they're going to do in hopes that you're going to close your position. I would advise myself, of course, me being a smart retail investor, that I not do that. I am not going to drop one fucking share. I won't drop it. I will not sell one share. They can try whatever they want. They can do whatever they want, whatever they please. I'm not going anywhere. I will be here till the end of time, like Apocalypse from the X-Men movies. I watched that movie last night. I'm going to be here. I'm eternal. I'm going to stay until I reach my number. And I think a lot of people will as well. I think we're building confidence. I think we're getting motivated and understanding how the game works. And now that we're empowered, now that we see what the game is, how it hasn't changed in the last 10 months, that it's just going to be more stop and go, dramatic drops. I think we're all going to be like, okay, we've done this already. We've already seen this. We'll just hang out and chill. We're going to hang out. We're not scared of this. We're not afraid of you. And we're going to hang out. And that's it. We're not going to do shit. We're not going to leave. That is how this is going to happen. Coordinated strategic strikes, strategic drops with all kinds of bad actors, all these guys, political actors, the Mitch McConnells, the Yellens, the Gary Genslers, they're all going to be involved in this thing. The Bidens, they're all going to be involved in this thing. And I'm telling you, you need to be prepared for it. Everything that they say is just considered FUD, and that's the way you should look at it. All FUD. They can't do anything. They will try to scare you out of your position, and that's what should be expected. Remember that. They're going to try to scare you out of your position. All you have to do, it doesn't cost you anything, hold. Hold. They cannot remove you. It's illegal. They can't say, oh, we're just going to sell it all at $400. It's the most you can get. Nope, can't do that either. It's illegal. And then then you realize the market is rigged, and then mass exodus, right? Everyone will be leaving after that. They're not going to do that. Not for Ken Griffin, at least. They're not. We're going to keep an eye on him, and people from this office, the president's office, are going to be keeping an eye on all of it. I promise you, once that first wave of volatility hits, we are going to see presidential, gubernatorial, whatever. We're going to see government, local government, state government, kind of peer in and see what the hell's going on. They'll make comments, and they'll say X, Y, and Z. And let me tell you, systemic risk is going to be their chant. Well, they should have thought of that before they put these assholes in place to run this thing, because I don't care. I don't care if it burns to the ground. I really don't, but I'm holding. And you should too. We're going to make money on this. We're going to make an exorbitant amount of money. We're going to make so much money that you won't even know what to do with it. But I'm telling you right now, this is the way to go. This is the way. Holding. Now, in the beginning of this message, I spoke to you about this, Masada. All right, I want to talk to you about this. Masada is this fortress that was built by King Herod. I guess most of you guys might remember King Herod from the Bible story, the Jesus story, how he tried to kill a bunch of infants and stuff, whatnot. But he made this. This was a summer home for him. But it ended up being a fortification for these people, Jewish rebels during the first Roman occupation, called Sicarii. Now, I'm sure a couple of you guys remember a movie that came out a couple of years ago called Sicarii and Sicarius or Sicario, and it means in Hebrew, assassin. And this is an assassin's lair. And the Romans built this up here. They built all this. It was just a regular fortress, didn't have any
so
walls,
cool.
but the Romans built it up so they could charge up here and kill all the Jews that were up there. Let me tell you, they were not going to go like the way that people thought. What the Romans were going to do was kill each and every one of them, right? Make them slaves, human captivity, all that stuff. But those Sicarii warriors, those Jews that lived up there, what they did is they committed suicide. Right? Theologically, it's wrong in Judaism, but they killed them because they didn't want to get taken. They didn't want to die in captivity, have their wives raped and murdered and pillaged and stuff, right? So they killed themselves. It was a mass suicide. And it's something that Israeli officers have to climb up. I don't know if you can see this road right here. They have to climb up this road and go all the way back up here and climb to this mountain and make it to this mountain. It's crazy. It's a hard hike, and you have full gear on. Why am I telling you this story? Either the apes and the retail investor community or the enemies, Citadel and the hedge funds, are going to have a Masada moment. One of us is going to die up in this mountain. And it's all determined on if you want to hold or not. Do you want to hold? Do you want to save, your family from generational poverty by holding? If you do, then they will die. If you want a paper hand and fold out early, then it's all over. You deserve what you get. But if we can force the enemy, the Citadel, SIGs, into that one area, we will bleed them dry. There'll be nothing left, and they will be forced to die out here. They will bleed to death, and it will be their form of suicide. We are going to win. We are going to win. All we have to do is hold, which doesn't cost us anything. These guys have to spend money, and that money is coming to an end. They're bleeding heavily, right? So the question is, who do you want to die up on that mountain? The apes or the hedge funds? That's a question I want you to really think about. Give some thought up there, because I'm not dying up on that mountain. I'll let them die for their cause, but I'm not dying for this. I'm telling you right now, all we have to do is hold, hold, and hold. And eventually, these guys are going to die. And we're going to get up to the top of the mountain, and we will conquer that mountain together. Apes united as one. Retail united as one. If you found value in this video, please share it with your community. I'm Al from Boston, and I'm signing out.